Hello. Is this on? Hey,
Hey.
what's going on?
Whoa.
How
Thank
y'all
you so
feeling?
much for coming.
Y'all look good. Give it up for yourselves. Samara, what up?
What's happening, man?
Listen, I know backstage we said we were going to rap for an hour, but
We should probably just stick to
just
the
like
plan.
talk?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay, cool.
But no, I definitely wanted to. So first of all, I wanted to start with a question that I've been wanting to ask you for a minute. I'm really big on moments in time, right? So I'm curious to know 2023 Grammys. Your name gets announced Best New Artist. I need to know how you felt when you heard your name. Like what? Just set the scene for us all. Like we've never heard it before.
Even just thinking about it now, I can envision how I was feeling just about the whole day. But I'll say, oh my gosh, so much happened. But I get to my seat. My little brother was my date, and it was the hip hop 50 years of hip hop like tribute, and so I'm seeing all of these different people. Like Queen Latifah is performing. Like I see Taylor Swift walking in. I see like all of these celebrities. I'm at this table and I'm like looking around. Like, am I really here? Like, is this really happening? What? First of all, ain't no food, nothing. It's just like fake snacks. I was like, can we eat that? Those grapes look fake. But we were having so much fun taking pictures with as many people as we could without trying to be super nervous and all that kind of stuff. And so I had won my very, very first Grammy earlier in the day. So I was already kind of on a high. I just got finished crying like I had never cried before. And they were like, wait, you want to take a picture? I was like, right now.
Yeah.
But I was already so excited. My family was there, my sister, my parents, my uncle, my brothers, everybody. So it was a beautiful day and an even more beautiful, ceremony, seeing other people win. But by the time my category came around, it was 10 names being called. So I was like, okay, I feel it's like all 9 other people are definitely more famous and more popular and have been in it for much longer than me. So I'm not really expecting anything. I'm just grateful to see my name up there. But when my name was called, I was like, you see it, like they really get your reaction the minute it happens. Cause I was like,
Right. Yeah.
It was crazy. And I didn't know what to say other than to look around me and be like, I've watched all of you on TV for so long. And now to be here, receiving such a wonderful award, for I don't know, just being who I am and all that kind of stuff. It was an amazing moment in time that I will never forget.
Right on. Shout out to that. So to that end, like, you won by that point you had won 2 Grammys. Yeah. So when you go back and you decide that you're going to create the next thing, or you're just going to, go back to your, whatever private situation it is, and you're going to work on your next project or your next song or what have you, was there pressure? Did you feel extra pressure now that you have this shiny gold trophy in your house?
I will say there was a teeny bit of pressure because I felt like I had just been kind of catapulted into this new world, and I kind of had to, like, I'm at the gates and I feel like I have to make a decision whether to go in or to just go back to what I was doing, Yeah. And I feel like I'm envisioning like Olympus, like Hercules, the animated, like he's like, oh, reach the end of the movie, you go to the gates and you're like, no, I think I want to stay on Earth. I think I want to stay on the ground. So, I feel like there was definitely maybe pressure to like, okay, now you've entered into this world. You've got some sort of notoriety, some sort of moment where you've captured, the eye of a lot of different people in the industry. So maybe you can veer off into this direction or that direction. But I had to remind myself not only that I got to this point, obviously with an amazing team of people who, put their best foot forward in promoting, this second album of mine. It's all of 2 albums. But remind myself what got me there in the first place. And I mean, making Linger a while was like, okay, we're going to go into the studio just like we did for the first one, record songs that I've already been singing on the road pretty much, and that I've built a relationship with. So I'm comfortable while I'm in the studio, and release it in hopes that people will enjoy it and connect to it. And we'll see what happens. And then it just kind of like, So now that had happened, I was like, okay, do I I don't know, try to chase this momentum, try to like, do things to stay visible at all times? Or do I just get back to work, and try to figure out what's next and take my time so that when I do figure out what's next, it's something of substance and it's something that I believe in and I believe is authentic. And I've grown. It's not just like, okay, I'm gonna make the same record because it did very well and I'm gonna just make the same one and people will like it and it'll be, I was like, I want to do something that's real, and that's fresh, people can connect to. It's still maybe similar themes, but yeah, I'm glad I decided to take my time.
So it sounds like you stayed true to your creative intent, and that's a big one. So what does creativity look like for you? When it's time for you to make the thing, are you? So I can only speak for myself. I'm really big on headphones, right? So I'll just be walking around here or somewhere, and a song will hit me, and I'll just be like, oh yeah, okay. Let me put this band together and try to like do a show, stuff like that. That's how my ideas hit me, but I'm curious, how do your ideas hit you?
I think it's a long process for me. I feel like it's not like, okay, I heard this, I want to do this, and this is what I know it's going to look like. It's like I have to go really like step by step until it materializes into like, oh shoot, I want to make an album and I have the perfect project because I've been, building on it, I guess one block at a time. And with this project in particular, I was kind of wanting to, in order to get to this next phase of growth, wanting to listen to more music and wanting to get into more arrangers and writers and listening to more arranged and I guess orchestral ensemble kind of works, just because I like the way that they sounded and I felt like I could connect to it the more I listened to it, and and then that idea kind of grew into, well, maybe I could have my own kind of band like that where they could write for me and not do this sort of like, okay, this is the way that you write for singers. I sing at the beginning, there's solos, and then they sing at the end. But it could be something that, that is a real group. And so that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to expand my band and I'm going to take songs not only that I know are in my repertoire, but new songs, and give them to these group of musicians and ask them basically to cultivate the sound of this band. No boundaries, no, this is how Samara wants it. No, use your creative mind and run free, And that process developed. They started writing for me, and the more and more we started to grow and learn from each other. And I realized, oh shoot, maybe there are sections for me that can be written where I can improvise a little bit. I hadn't done it before, but the more comfortable that we grew in our musical relationship, it was like, I think I can do it. And that's what you'll hear later on. But yeah, I think it was very gradual. It was like I started listening to more Duke Ellington. I started listening to more Thad Jones and Mel Lewis and more Benny Golson and just more arrangements and wanting that kind of sound on stage with me. And then I was like, let's make a band. Let's work. Let's keep going. Let's keep working. And I'm hesitant to say this, but like, I just didn't, for the next project, I didn't just want to go into the studio and, be with people I may have never met and never worked with or collaborated with and just try to create a vibe. Right. I'd rather go into the studio with a vibe already, with it already being cultivated on the road and so that when we get into the studio, which we did after a year of being on the road together, 3 days, 18 songs, we were in and out. And I have to shout out our wonderful co-producer and lead, he was mentioned before, multi-Grammy winner Brian Lynch is in the building.
Brian Lynch. Hey, what up?
My wonderful, I have to shout him out so much because Brian, he came in maybe about, I want to say like 2 months before we got into the studio or something like that. And he hadn't really heard any of the music. Like we had spent so much time with it. And so he came in and didn't try to like, say, well, this is how I think you should do it and you should do it like this, blah, 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 blah. He was really, really supportive and he treated us as equals, which I thought was amazing because I feel like a lot of times people see this band, it's made up of my peers. Everybody, I'm 24, everybody's 25, 26, all that kind of stuff. And it's inspired by mentors in this music. Like he toured with the great Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, and Art Blakey was known for having young musicians in the band to cultivate the sound. It wasn't like, like John Coltrane, Miles Davis, they were all so young when they were creating the sound of this music that we listened to. And so we're honestly kind of just trying to follow in that tradition. I'm really grateful to Brian for his expertise, his musical expertise and his mentorship and his leadership, but also treating us as equals and as, allowing us to experiment, and every piece of advice that he gave, it was so special and led us in the right direction and guided us. So thank you, Brian.
Yeah. Now,
I'm sorry, what was the question?
no. Listen. No, Samira, I know you humble, and you said this album.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not so humble all the time. So we gonna put it up here. We gonna say the name. We PG tonight, so I'll say talk your stuff about the record. So, so this is the album we're talking about, Portrait. Do you want to shout out the band?
Yes. Oh gosh, and I'll make sure to shout them out later when they're on stage with me. But Connor Rohr, the pianist, Jason Charles, the trumpeter. I know him. I'm not looking at the names. Kendrick McAllister on the tenor saxophone. Yeah. Who else did I say? Donovan Austin on the trombone. David Mason on the alto. Felix is on the album. He's not here, the bass player, but Paul Sakivi is with us tonight, and Evan Sherman on the drums. And I love this album cover so much. Can I show it to you again?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I have to tell you, I knew that I wanted it to be visual art. I didn't just want to go do a photo shoot and slap a title on there. Like, I wanted it, the music was well thought out, so I wanted the cover to reflect that as well. And so I was searching on Pinterest for weeks. I was like, please find, I want to find a portrait artist whose style that I like and who can probably get it done within, I don't know, maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. And I found this wonderful painter. His name is Dominic Avant, and he lives in Florida. And I Zoomed with him. I sent him a message, Zoomed him real quick. We got together. We chose the photo from a photo shoot that I did. We maybe had 2 or 3 Zoom calls, and he finished it. Then I was like, oh, this is perfect. So yes, visual art. Go visual art.
So why Portrait as the title?
I guess with the field that I'm in, and just, I don't know, just being a jazz singer, having that title, there's definitely a lot of maybe assumptions and things that kind of slapped on me without having a chance to get to know me. And I understand that, I'm inspired by so many. I can't negate the influence that so many singers and musicians have had on me. But I wanted, with this album in particular, to showcase how much I've grown in the past couple of years as an artist, how much I've learned about myself, and through this band in particular, how much I've learned about my range and the because I feel like the first 2 albums, they were my first 2 times being in the studio. And so I didn't really have so much confidence about how to execute my ideas. I was like, this is gonna live forever. Let me just tone it down a little bit and just, try to do the best that I can in the studio and not be so nervous and all that kind of stuff. But I felt like I was in my head a lot. And with this one, I wanted to be all in. I wanted to be involved in choosing the band members and choosing which songs each person would arrange, because I got to learn their individual arranging style. Okay, you can compose this, you can arrange this, I like the way you did this, that kind of thing. Choosing co-producer, choosing the studio, choosing the artwork, all that. I wanted to be all in and really trust and believe in myself that I had the tools to create the vision that I saw in my head. So I'm sorry, I've been going on such a tangent, I forget what the question is. But
we're just talking.
But that's it.
We're just talking.
That's it. That is Portrait.
But so to that end, what did you learn about yourself over the past couple of years? We talked about the Grammys. You got new statues in the crib.
Yeah.
What have you learned about yourself over the past couple of years?
My parents got them. My parents, they got them.
Oh, okay. No, talk about it. Okay. All right.
They deserve, yes, it's all of them. You can clap it up. My Antonio and Janice McClendon, my lovely parents.
You don't have them in the apartment at all?
Not at all. Not at all.
Any
That's
reason
all
why?
for them. That's all for them. Part of it is because I don't want to wake up and just look at them and be like, oh,
Right.
I don't gotta practice today. Look what I got, I don't want to do that. I want to stay focused on the task ahead, which is just one day at a time. One day at a time, getting better every single day and growing. And not to say that having it would stop that in any way, but I feel like for me, I don't want to look at them every day. I'd rather my parents look at them and be like, we did it. We did it,
No, it's funny. I know, I'm glad you brought that up because I've heard other people say the same thing. Like Terrence Martin told me, he keeps his in storage. And I'm like, in storage? You can't even keep them
Like on a
around in the
shelf or
shelf in the house. He's like, no, I keep them
Drink
in
your apple
storage.
juice out of them or something.
That would be lit.
No.
But no, his whole thing is like, what did he say? He was like, you can't look forward. You can't move forward if you're looking backwards. And looking backwards at those Grammys, you'll forget why you got into it in the first place.
Exactly. All there is to learn, and yeah.
Speaking of learn,
Yeah. What did you learn? That was the question.
Segue.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Listen, segue. Yeah.
I would say, like what I said before, I feel like I learned throughout this process that I have the tools, and not to say that it's like, okay, because I don't feel like I knew exactly what I wanted to do at every step, but I feel like I knew the general direction that I wanted to go in, and yeah, having the years to learn about myself and learn how to communicate and still learning how like what I want to present to people, I guess allowed me with this project to really have clarity. Because first getting into it, it's like, I don't know how to release an album. I don't know how to record anything. I don't know, I know my repertoire and I know how I sing in that very moment in chosen time, and that's all. But the more, I guess touring helped me a lot too. I would say touring helped me a lot. Being on the road, performing night after night, making mistakes with the band, recovering with the band, has been a crucial part of my learning. So I guess I learned more about myself and what I want just by putting the time in to figure it out. I guess, I don't know. That was round the way kind of answer, but
No. That's the answer. So anybody who see me do some of these, you know, I can get a little Super Soul Sunday on it sometime. So,
okay, triple
but
S.
I'm like, no, for real, I'm being genuine, like, because I've seen you like on the road doing this thing, doing that thing. And same with me, where it's just like you're always like in it doing the work because you love the work. But it takes special people to remind you, like, hey, you need to like sit down for a hot second. So I guess just want to ask you real quick, what does your self-care look like? Still trying to figure it out?
Still working on that, because I feel like it's more than maybe a vacation, which I try. It's like traveling so much. It's like I don't want to get on another plane to go anywhere once I have time off. I'm staying home.
Right.
I still need to like unpack and like try to figure out how to decorate my apartment and spend time with my family and visit my grandpa and like just figure all that kind of stuff out when I'm home. But I guess what I would want for my self-care would be to there's one thing I want to do is like I want to go somewhere upstate where there's a nice view of like the river or like the mountains, and I want to scrapbook and take all the pictures I have in my phone and print them out and just like scrapbook all of these memories, because one of my favorite memories growing up was looking through my mom and my dad's like photo albums. And just seeing how beautiful those moments in time are captured, and it's like they're frozen forever. And I don't want to be so focused on like being in the moment with all of this beautiful stuff that's happening in my life that I forget to like document it and remember like when I'm 40, 50, 60, 70 years old to look back and be like, wow, that was really in those years, my 20s, that was my life. And so that's what I want to do.
And so does some of that indirectly, you think, play into the themes that come out in Portrait, even down to the title, even down to what you're talking about on the record?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say more of my life is reflected on this album for sure, and wanting to leave something behind that means a lot to me, that I'm proud of, and being honest with myself about where I am at this moment, and realizing it's not going to be perfect, but this is just a snapshot and a portrait of me at 24 after experiencing one of the craziest couple of years of my life. I talk about my mentor, Barry Harris, one of my mentors, and writing lyrics to his composition. I talk about the same thing I'm talking about with you right now, like the past couple of years, how it's really felt, how overwhelming it's been. I expressed that for the first time in my original song, about love, about loss of love, and yeah, I think I'm definitely being a little more vulnerable with the themes on this album for sure.
Mm-hmm. And at what point did you land on singing as your vessel of creativity?
I would say I can remember being driven to and from school by my dad, with my brothers, and either he would turn the radio on, 107.5 WBLS, or
Hey, all right. There we go.
or he would play stuff from his iPod and we would kind of sing along and harmonize to it. And that's at least when I discovered, like, oh, you know, listening to my dad sing around the house and write songs because he had a home studio, it made me realize, like, I love expressing myself in this way. I love trying to figure out how to harmonize with what's happening on the radio before it turns off to the next song. And then eventually he gave me like an iPod Nano and downloaded all the music from his computer onto it, and that's what I would listen to all the time. And so I think, I think that's when, and then I had creative outlets in school too, like musical theater. I was Willy Wonka. I was, I sang in choirs in school and stuff like that. So I feel like I always knew, but it really started at home.
Okay. And was it always jazz, or was it R&B? Was it
It's so
hip-hop?
crazy. I didn't start listening to jazz until the end of high school. And really then, I don't think I was as committed or interested in it because it was kind of like a after school thing. Like, they're putting this jazz club together. They want me to do 2 songs, like Route 66 or something like that. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. Yeah, sure. I like singing, but I didn't realize that it was really something I wanted to pursue until I got to college. So I knew one song, any college to be, upcoming college students, don't be like me. I knew one jazz song to audition with, and it was called "I Let a Song Go Out of My Heart" by Duke Ellington. And I learned it in high school. That was the only one I had. I went to SUNY Purchase. I was in the audition room, and I sang that song, and I was like, that's all I got. So hopefully that is enough. Because I auditioned for that school. That's the only one I auditioned for in person. And I think I auditioned for something like Skidmore, like online. But yeah, when I was growing up, I was listening to R&B, I was listening to soul, I was listening to gospel, and then jazz was introduced to me much, much later.
Mm-hmm. And what? So I'm curious, who were some of your favorite R&B artists?
Listening to growing up.
Yeah.
Well, I loved groups. I love groups. Stylistic spinners. My mom would play Luther Vandross endlessly. Like, she would have the concert live at Wembley on repeat, and I think she would just rewind when he was like, oh. Like, he would just like walk by, like it was a round stage, and the mic would be here, and he'd just be walking by, and everybody would just be like, wah! Doom, 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 all that stuff. What else? Stevie, obviously, I'm going to see him on Thursday. Cannot wait.
Oh, you got tickets? Oh, no, hold on. Did you? You just
I did get tickets.
You got tickets?
I paid for them tickets. Don't play.
All right.
I invested in the experience.
All right.
But I had to wait.
Too long.
I was literally in the airport, though. Sorry, quick sidebar. I was in the airport, and I was getting ready to board. It was 10 minutes, and I realized that pre-sale was happening at that very moment. So I was on Ticketmaster, my group being called. I'm like, okay, it's either this plane or these tickets, and I need these tickets. So I think I got kicked out of the waiting room on Ticketmaster like 5 times before I actually landed. And so I'm taking my parents. Me and my parents are going to spend the evening.
Oh, right on. Right on. Any other R&B influences?
I would say Layla Hathaway is a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Who did I listen to? I listened to Layla Hathaway. I mean, on the gospel side, Kiara Kiki Sheard, I listen to her all the time. And just saw them, another sidebar. I try to see music in New York whenever I'm home. And so I went to the reunion tour, and Kiki Sheard was so good. It was so good. We were there for 7 hours, but it was great. And Kiki Sheard was there, Kirk Franklin, and Clark Sisters, Fred Hammond, Marvin Sapp. It was amazing. Let me see. I said Layla Hathaway, Jasmine Sullivan, Kiki Sheard, Shaka. I don't know if I have any more that I'm thinking of right now. I'm going to be so embarrassed later on, but those are the ones that come to my mind at the moment.
So do you find that, obviously in your formative years, you're listening to R&B, you're listening to gospel. Do you find that any of those influences make their way into the music that you're making now?
I believe so. And even if the only way that you can tell this from my voice, I feel like I spent so much time listening to that music and imitating those artists. And that's the way, I think maybe that's even another part of my creative process, is just listening and like really trying to get down to the little nuances of why I love this specific singer, this specific riff or run. if I can execute it that way or if I have to make it my own. Like all of those things, I feel like I was like subconsciously practicing and trying to develop my ear by listening to different singers and trying to hone in on what it is I liked about each of them. And so all of that work, it can't just be like, okay, I'm singing jazz voice. I definitely can't and would not throw away any of the influences because all of them, including jazz now, all of them make up me, so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so obviously, there's probably a lot of creative people in here. And I feel like a lot of times when readers, listeners, they look at artists, they think that they just kind of made it overnight. Like there's just, okay, they came out with one song and then it streamed 1 billion times and then here they are. So, right. So I'm wondering, like, talk about your journey when you first decided, like, I'm going to pursue this professionally. What was the walk through those early days? How did they look for you? What were some of the challenges, some of the peaks, valleys?
I feel like my journey is kind of the same, once again, as my creative process, where it's like I don't really see the end. It wasn't like I had like a vision board, like I know I'm going to be here in 3 years. I know that I want to do this, get signed to this person, blah, blah, blah. I really took it step by step from high school auditioning to get into college, getting into this jazz program. My goal for those 4 years was to just be the best student and singer that I could be, like learn everything that I possibly can, gather all of the tools that I possibly can to pursue a career in music. I don't know which lane I'm going to be in, whether I'm going to sing background, whether I'm going to be up front, whether I'm going to have to work a job while trying to support this. But hopefully during these 4 years, I'll find what it is I'm meant to do. And then that translated to, okay, I'm going to go to, or that transitioned into going into the Sarah Vaughan competition. My junior year. And once I participated in that, it was like, oh, I'm starting to get more and more exposed into this world that I wasn't familiar with. I'm from New York, and I had never been to a jazz club until I was 18, 19 years old. And it was like this whole underground world of musicians and community that I hadn't seen before. And so I did the Sarah Vaughan competition. I won. I was like, oh, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can actually like pursue this and have a place in it. And that transitioned to getting my own manager, my own booking team, and really like it was like during the pandemic. Honestly, that was when things started to kind of take a turn because I recorded my first album during the pandemic and released it a month after I graduated. I was like, okay, now this is where the career part comes in. But I feel like I never really had like by the time like I'm 17, 18 years old, by the time I graduate, I want to make sure that I'm doing this or whatever. It was just kind of step by step and things, they aligned in a beautiful way. I'm grateful my story is what it is because I know that there are so many people who are, it happens overnight, but really they spent 20 years, 15, 20, 30 years trying to get to this place where it finally all makes sense, and yeah, I'm just grateful. My journey is what it is. I'm glad to be learning all of these lessons in the moment as I go along.
And what sort of advice would you give to like-minded musicians who want to, quote unquote, make it?
I would say, as much as you want to focus on making it, you have to love what you're doing, because otherwise, any of the work and the lessons required to make it, you're gonna step back and be like, actually, I don't think this is for me because it's too hard or it's too this, or like, why am I in this season of like kind of like a dry spell where it's like it doesn't feel like anything is lining up the way that I want it to. But you, like I said, earlier, you can't skip out on the time that it takes to develop as an artist and develop a vision in the first place and try things out, try your ideas out, and figure out, okay, maybe I don't want to do that next time, so let me try this. Like all of that workshopping can't be shortcut. So I would say for anybody trying to make it, don't focus on making it. Focus on whatever your art is and being the best possible person that you can, an artist that you can at doing that. Because once the opportunity strikes, you don't want to be like, well, I'm not ready. I just was focused on making it. I wasn't even, really focused on going to see, other concerts or other art shows or other galleries and being inspired by other people, coming to talks, going to, surrounding myself with a team I feel like I can, or people, not even like team, but friends I feel like I can grow with and who who can support me and I can support them in slowly building like a network. Yeah, I would say just focus on the art that you want to create and building whatever it is, team or friends or whatever network that you feel can help you get to that point.
You know, and I'm glad you said that because it's just kind of funny. Like those are the records, like the records that you're talking about are the ones that we celebrate 30 and 50 years later, right? It's kind of wild to like look back at some of the old reviews and like Downbeat, that, you know, records that got like 2.5 stars or whatever. And now like the 50-year later reissue is coming out.
This is like,
you know,
because it's timeless, and because
right.
the time that they put into that, you know, it was probably, I don't know, a lot of those musicians, I feel like they started so young, like 15, 16, maybe even 11 or 12 years old, you know, and by the time they make that, you know, statement, they would have already had all of these lessons and these experiences, you know, built up to create this work. And maybe they go back into the studio and do another one, you know, just because they have the resources at their disposal to do so. So, yeah, just stay focused. Because I feel like if I was trying to make it, I wouldn't even be doing this. I wouldn't even be singing jazz. You know, I wouldn't even be here going to school for music or anything like that. Maybe I would have done something else. But because I love music, because I grew up with it, because it's a part of me, I knew that even if a career didn't end up working out, I wanted to be the best at being me, you know, and being able to present that first and foremost. So, yeah, I'm glad it worked out this way, though. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. So, with this album, is it safe to say it is a big band record? Or
I would say it's a larger ensemble. I'm glad that you say that, because I mean we've played for you know, in different spaces, whereas theaters or classical halls and that kind of stuff. And the comment that we always get is like, whoa, there's only 7 people up there, but you sound like a full band. And I have to give credit to the musicians. I will once they get up here. But the depth of their musicianship and their influences and the way they're able to write as if it's a big band or if it's a large ensemble is really incredible and really special. And I'm glad I get to showcase, you know, their artistry as well, their individual music style. And on this album, you'll find with each arrangement that each person arranged, it sounds different. It's like a different, Chris Potter, wonderful tenor saxophonist, called it different musical worlds that we were crafting with each song. I think that's what is so special about the band. Sorry.
About the larger ensemble.
About the larger ensemble, not a big band.
Not a big band.
We sound like it though, but not for real.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. All right. I won't call it a big band record.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. So then, what are some of the? You spoke about this a little bit earlier, but I'm curious, just to drill down a little bit. What are some of the similarities and differences from Portrait to your last album, Linger a While?
I would say, I think the differences might be, I guess, more than the similarities. What similarities can I draw?
I mean, if there are none, I'm not trying to.
Maybe the repertoire, I would say. I don't necessarily try to choose things that are obscure, but I think I'm kind of drawn to music that's beautiful that isn't recorded as much, so that I can kind of put my own personal spin on it. And so there are songs from Linger a While, and like Sweet Pumpkin and like Can't Get Out of This Mood and Social Call that are really jazz compositions. Sweet Pumpkin was written by the accompanist to Sarah Vaughan. Social Call was written by an alto saxophonist called Gigi Grice. Can't Get Out of This Mood was recorded twice by Sarah Vaughan and Nina Simone. And I can't remember the other one. But all that to say, I feel like the repertoire choices are kind of the same, where it's like, even though they may not be songs that are super, super, super popular, like LOVE or like Misty or that kind of thing, they're still kind of, on Linger a While at least, they were pretty standard sounding, sounded like a regular standard songbook composition, but they were really jazz compositions. And maybe that even led to this album and my choice of repertoire, where it's like I'm singing songs by the bassist Charles Minkus, I'm singing songs by Sun Ra, and the lyrics, like I said, to the composition by Barry Harris, even an original composition from the trombonist. And I feel like if I hadn't been exploring already in my repertoire on Linger a while, trying to find songs that I liked that I feel like I could make my own, then maybe it wouldn't have led to, choosing even more obscure, songs or songs that don't have lyrics to them, and trying to make them my own, not only by my interpretation, but my lyrics. And maybe that's a similarity. And the differences in range, I would say, are pretty vast. Because like I was mentioning earlier, I felt like I had ideas on how I wanted to. Ooh, can you hear me? Okay.
It is kind of cutting.
I had ideas on how I wanted to interpret a song and maybe how to sing it straight, like sing the melody straight on the first time through, and then maybe the second time through I'll amend some things, I'll embellish a little bit. But I feel like I felt like I didn't really have the confidence to execute it and to really trust myself to go forward. But now, after a year or so of practice, of performance, of once again making mistakes and figuring out how to recover from them, and having ideas on the spot that I feel like now I can really execute, there's this album, Portrait, where I experiment a lot more with my range. So I would say that was a big difference as well, my confidence and my range.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put my critic hat on real quick. Okay. And so that's what I appreciate about your music. I feel like that, it taps into a certain traditional aspect of jazz, but it is experimental. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you're also tapping into all kinds of audiences. It's kind of wild to go to one of your shows. So I went to see you at the Blue Note in January. Yeah. My aunt was in town, and I took my aunt to the show, and she was like, "Wow, she can sing everything, can't she?" And I was like, "Yeah, she can." Yeah. So I feel like you're definitely tapping into all kinds of audiences, and I feel like that's very rare. And even for me, who likes jazz, it's a little more out, right? So hearing you say Sun Ra, I was like, "Oh, what?" Like Sun Ra, no one shouts out Sun Ra like that. So what was your ever? What was your? And it's just, look, I'm not trying to put you in a box, but I'm curious, all the other influences in Sun Ra. How did you get introduced to Sun Ra?
I have to once again give credit to my lovely band, because I think another thing that I wanted with this project, I wanted to be surrounded by people who had a like mind and who were wanting to grow and expand their musicianship, and not necessarily just be like, oh, I can work with anybody, I'm gonna just choose a bunch of stars and I wanted to be around my peers, but I also wanted to be around like-minded people who are serious about their craft. And so I was introduced to Charles Mingus because of the tenor saxophonist Kendrick. I was introduced to Sun Ra because of the trombonist, introduced to classical music and Afro-Cuban music because of the alto saxophonist and the trumpet player, and because of all of those influences being poured into the group, I feel like it was bound to grow, and I was bound to grow alongside of it. So I guess maybe naturally when I feel like I'm reaching some sort of plateau, I'm like, okay, I want to challenge myself. And one big challenge I'll say is the song Reincarnation of a Lovebird, which is written by Charles Mingus. It's unlike any standard composition, song, standard form, harmonic form, melodic form, whatever. It's like its own thing. Inspired by classical music on Charles Mingus's part, inspired by jazz, but it's its own thing. And I first heard it and I was like, all of these intervals are crazy. I haven't heard that in any song ever. Or any song that was singable, and so I was like, but it sounded so musical. It didn't sound random. It didn't sound like, it sounded like, even though it was unique in its form, it still sounded like a song that I could possibly attempt, And so I spent a year learning the melody, and that was a challenge in and of itself because I had to figure out how to change. I'm forgetting the word. If something was, I'd change octaves. That's what I was saying. If something was a little bit higher, I was like, okay, here, I'll switch octaves here so that I can make sure it's still in my range, but it's not conflicting with the melody at all or anything. But it took me a year to learn the melody, and I started writing lyrics to it. And after I had internalized the melody, and then I realized, and then the next challenge, the arranger was like, you're gonna sing it. A part of my arrangement is that you sing the whole thing up front a cappella. I was like, what?
Piece of cake.
I've been singing.
Piece of cake.
I've been singing along with the recording this whole time. What do you mean singing a cappella up front? No accompaniment, just me. And so just having somebody who can say, I believe you can do it. You can do that. I hear that in my head. It lines up with the whole arc of the way the song is going to flow. I wrote this section for you. You're going to improvise over it while we play. I know you can do it. I know you. And having them believe in me and in my ability before I can even see it, and then me kind of reaching the same mindset, like, oh, I can reach for that, is. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I forgot the question again. I'm trying to round it out.
Listen,
but
that means you're comfortable.
Yes, I'm leaned back. I gotta watch myself. But
safe space. Safe space. All right.
But it's just another testament to influences. Charles Mingus, how did you come upon that? How did you come upon Sun Ra? Exactly.
Indeed, yes.
Just I guess another testament. Honestly, my parents advised, you are who you hang around, so make sure you're hanging around people who uplift and who don't drag you down. And that played a part in this particular project.
Okay. All right. Shout out to that answer.
Yeah.
Listen.
We know how to round it out. We know how to come back to the point. Yes, we know.
I just got one more question for you.
Okay.
And it's a two-part question. Okay. What would you say is the mission statement of Portrait? And what do you want listeners to gain from it when it comes out on Friday?
I would say the mission statement, I feel like there are many, but the one that just came to my mind is don't discredit the young.
Say that again. Say that. Come on now.
Don't. No. I'll use both.
Right.
Just because somebody is a young musician or a young artist, doesn't mean that their ideas aren't worth exploring. Because if anything, I want to make sure that by the time I'm 30, by the time I'm 40, this is sharp. But now is the time to experiment, and now is the time to try things out. And I keep saying this, but keep trying to figure out how to grow and open up myself even more as an artist. And so I would say this album is made up of, and I was asked this question a little while ago, like, why didn't you, you have some status, you can choose anybody you want. Why choose, these particular musicians? And I'm like, because they're the right people for the job, like for the NBA, for example. Do you want a team where it's like, okay, we're just going to get this star player, he's going to come in, he's going to bring all the notoriety and stuff, but he can't play with the team. So he's going to be the only one shooting. He's not passing to nobody. He's not coming up with no team plan. We come out of the huddle. There's no, what I'm saying. Or you're going to get the facilitators needed in order to move as one. So it's not just one person up front. It's everybody collaborating as a unit. And so I feel like that's what the mission statement of this is. It's like, if you take the time to develop relationship with musicians that you trust their artistry, and you trust their individual voices to be able to come and collaborate, this is the result. And I'm looking forward to everybody hearing that, all that work that we put in on Friday.
Make the loudest noise possible.
Marcus Moore, everybody. Marcus Moore.